the initial thing is we get, for example, for a role, we'll get on Spotlight and we'll get submissions and we see your little kind of headshot and your name and your agent. And that's it really to start with. So for us, looking through that, anything that, us knowing you or knowing you as an actor is obviously going to help, but a lot of the times for smaller roles we might not know people as much. So just making sure your CV is fully up to date and making sure we see that you've worked recently, or you've got a nice kind of, you haven't thrown loads of stuff on there and there's too much kind of overcrowding it. We see a nice kind of variety of work in each discipline. And a showreel is always going to help. Like I would say that, like, a lot of the times when we don't know actors, if they haven't got a showreel, we just like are scared to take that risk sometimes of bringing them in without seeing something of their work. So if you haven't got a showreel, use this time to, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but use this time to perhaps just even film a monologue or film something that you can just put on up there, and so we can kind of reference it and we can see it. It's just super helpful for us. So that kind of, it's a lot of different things that kind of help us to spotlight, to shortlist actors, and that's kind of just a few. Again, the proactive thing of just trying to reach out and have connections with people, so I can go, oh yeah, I remember that person from a workshop that he might have done or something like that. Yeah.
The spotlight thing is interesting. I'd like to go a little bit deeper on that, and specifically the bit around when you're talking about the resume and the credits you've listed. So, I'm sure some people just put everything they've ever done on there. Would you say people might be better suited to not cherry pick, but almost be a bit more selective with the stuff that's on there in the credits? And I don't know if you know of Bonnie Gillespie from the States. She's a business of acting coach. Have you heard of her?
Not, I think I've heard of her name.
You might have heard of the name. Anyway, so she talks about this and about having your CV be basically showing the buyers, so you guys, the casting directors, where we want to go, not where we've been, and have our credits be indicative of that, not necessarily the short student film that I did in 2006.
Yeah. And I completely get that a lot of, sometimes people who are starting out don't have many credits, and you're trying to build it up, and we can see that, and we can see your reflection of you've just graduated, or so that's, it's not an important thing necessarily, but yeah, that's one thing I say: make your CV kind of mold it to what you want to be seen as an actor. If you are a stage actor and you've got loads and loads of stage credits, but you're really, really, really wanting to get into film and TV more, perhaps rather than kind of keeping every single stage kind of, it's brilliant to have so much on there, but if you've got a few film and TV and you kind of wanting to kind of be considered a bit more for film and TV, then maybe just strip them back a little bit, just so we want to see those years and see that you've continued to work and that you've kind of been disciplined and you're working and getting the work. But I think molding it to where you want to be and where you want to kind of be seen as an actor is really important.
It's like killing your own babies, though, isn't it, for us? It's like, you want me to do what? That film I did that was the best thing I've ever done. But
yeah, and yeah, that's another thing as well, in terms of sometimes credits that like we don't, if we don't know them, or if we, it's not something kind of significant, and it's something perhaps a little bit when you were starting out and it's smaller, it can't quite give us an indication of you as an actor kind of thing. So just be disciplined and kind of be picky and choosy.
And so say I'm someone who's starting out or been in it for a while, but doesn't have those credits yet with the names per se, but I've got stuff. How could I make some of those stand out and pop more? Would it be things like, say, if the director's known, or maybe if it's gone to a festival that's quite reputable or won awards, would tagging stuff like that on there, if you're able to, even in the description on Spotlight, make a difference?
definitely, yeah. And a lot of the time, you know, new graduates and people who've just come out will also have their drama school roles as well. So they're so important as well in terms of us seeing what kind of characters you've played during your time at drama school. So you know, something like that will be really indicative of who you are as an actor. But also, yeah, like you say, write a little description. You know, you've got the little bit on Spotlight just saying recently appeared in this and won this award, or this was chosen for you know, nominated for an award, for anything like that, that can kind of go, oh yeah, there's something here that looks interesting to us.
So final one on Spotlight, it follows on from this. So Yvonne Mai has asked about your thoughts on putting in additional images or footage next to your headshots and showreel on Spotlight. So specifically things like stills from projects, or maybe footage of, if you say someone who does combat training, like something like that, or self-tape videos, would you put extra snippets or stuff like that on Spotlight, or would you keep it off?
I think with headshots and stuff, you really, you know, your main one will be the one that's obviously used most. Your agent or you can choose sometimes whether which photo you suggest, with. But I would say you only need, I think, no more than 3 headshots really on there. I think we kind of, if it doesn't jump off the page in the first one of who you are, maybe give another one that's quite, you know, slightly different, so we see kind of a different side to you, a different quality, maybe a lighter side to you. So feel free to put them up, but only do them if they are different. Like sometimes we can kind of go and check other photos and they're kind of exactly the same and they haven't really kind of helped us much, or it might just have like a different hairstyle but the same kind of feel. So kind of just be careful of what that is up there. And it, you know, stills from productions and things like that, and mainly kind of indicates, I guess, it sees a different side to you, but we don't generally kind of tend to like look at them necessarily.
Fine.
Again, with a showreel as well, so you've got the showreel, and then you can also add added bits and like footage as well. Again, try and have, if you were to have a motion capture showreel, that's completely different. So feel free to do a motion capture showreel and your main showreel. Generally, with like, if you were to have a monologue up there, I think just try and kind of tell us what to look at. So we might not go on that monologue. If you're really proud of that monologue, it should be in your showreel. So try to kind of put it all in one place if possible, unless they're different disciplines and different skills you're highlighting.
What about things like languages or people with different accents that maybe you wouldn't put that in the main showreel in full, but say you want to have a little minute clip of you on there for the time that maybe you're casting, I don't know, the guy who's French or Italian? Would that still make sense to have that on there?
Yeah, definitely. That you can definitely put that as something, or even just, you know, again, if in your showreel, if you did have a nice scene in speaking French, then have that included as well. But yeah, if that's fine, that it references really nicely, so we can kind of just say, oh yeah, look, we can see this, and it demonstrates that.